Test. Good evening, Manhattan, New York City, the world, the universe, and beyond. We're here live in Studio 4, and we got another special spiritual interview. My name is Kirk, and this is my spiritual, supernatural, mystical, and magical, all spiritual, all the time, over a decade of shows at Dailymotion, Vimeo, and the YouTube, just for you. We're going to send out a little Shakti, Namaste. And tonight, I'm pleased and honored to have the yoga teacher, yoga instructor, and Christopher Temple. Christopher.
Kirk.
What's happening?
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
You too.
Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm glad you...
Super excited to be here.
Same here. It just kind of like came together, you know. I love it when it's just like...
Effortless.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, totally. Hey, man, what's up? You busy? No, absolutely not.
Right?
You caught me at a perfect time. It's really good.
Shakti.
Love it.
Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. You know, we're under some heavy, intense lighting here. It's like being in the spaceship. I'm going to pass it over to you for about 2 to 5 minutes. And who is Christopher Temple as a healer, yoga instructor, yoga teacher? What would you like for us to know about you?
Well, I am a healer. I am a yoga teacher. I do Thai yoga massage. I'm Manhattan-based all the time. Do a little dabbling out in dirty Jersey. You know, born and raised in Jersey, but most of my yoga is here in the city. Teach public classes at 3 different studios: Sonic Yoga, New York Yoga, Earth Yoga. They're all basically Midtown, the 2 of them, and the other one's on the Upper East Side. Awesome studios, great practitioners. I've been doing yoga myself on and off for over 20 years. I started in my teens, and then got very on and off, and then got into it pretty hardcore about 6 years ago. And it's always been something in the back of my mind where I wanted to, I love doing yoga. I love what it does for me.
So you felt called. I mean, when you started doing it, so you were doing yoga first.
I was doing yoga first.
And then you were like...
I was like, I love what this is doing for me. I loved what it was doing for me. I realized that it was doing something more than what I originally thought it was doing for me. And I was like, this is definitely something that people need to hear about, something people need to know, you know. It's brought me a lot of empowerment. It's brought me a lot of healing. Being a comfortable human being, you know. It's a lot of that. So definitely been a blessing in my life. Absolutely.
All right. Where do you want to start? You want to start history, different types?
Yeah, let's start. We could start with history.
Different incarnations in the modern world in the last 10 years. I know, I shared with you that, I wanted to do yoga before the massive yoga craze, 10, 12 years ago, and everything exploded in Manhattan. You see people yoga mats every day. So I go to, what's a hot one? Hot
yoga, the Bikram?
I go to Bikram.
I
go to Bikram on 8th. I don't mind talking out of school about this place. And I'm like, hey, I'd like to take a beginner's class.
Yeah.
And I'm in there, and there's all these people, and they've got, the right clothes and the right mat.
Were they wearing Speedos and stuff? Bikinis and Speedos. That's pretty much a lot of skimpy clothes in that. Yeah,
it was not naked. Okay. It wasn't I know they do actually... my audience knows I'm gay. That the gay guys do a hot nude, but it's not sexual.
They got hetero. They got hetero nude as well.
Oh, they have hetero nude.
Yeah,
okay, all right. Yeah. It's happening. Yeah. Okay, I don't think it was anything nude at this place, but it was hot. And so I go in there, and they're like, I didn't have the right clothes, and so the guy kind of hotboxed me into, why don't you just take one class? And I was like, well, I'd really prefer. And he's like, the class is starting right now. So I was in my street clothes, and I don't know anything. And they're like, we'll give you a mat. It was almost like hazing. And I blow in there, and there's I don't know, 40? Yeah. It's a big class. And I mean, there's only this much space in between people. So I'm trying to do it, but, I really... I kind of felt like I was going in expecting an experience of communion, soft music and lights, and I was approaching like I'm entering the temple.
Bikram's got no music.
And they were like,
music.
"You're not in the temple. You're in the army. You're like, hit left one." And so
Right.
it turned me off. And guess what? I never went back to yoga. Like, I got so shamed. So talk a little bit about that. I think it should be gentle and connection. And this guy they just severed me from. It really hurt me.
Yeah. You're not alone in that.
Okay. I want to hear about.
Oddly
some
enough,
of this,
Bikram is what I started doing yoga with as well. I started doing Bikram, and I liked it at first. I think I liked it because I went with my girlfriend at the time, and she liked it, and I was not going to be outdone. There was a little bit of the competition in it. A lot of people argue that Bikram can be a competitive variation of yoga. They have competitions, actually. I don't know that Bikram does it exclusively, but I know that they have competitions. But the thing about yoga is you say, I wanted it to be, and that's the thing about yoga. There are many different variations and versions of yoga. You've got Bikram, you've got Ashtanga, you've got Hatha, you've got Kundalini, you could do restorative, you could do yin, they even have prenatal. There's many, many different yogas. And you have what I do, which is vinyasa, which is kind of like, in a lot of ways, it's like pirate yoga. It like steals from a little bit of everything what it wants. Vinyasa.
Okay. And
Vinyasa in its
all 3 locations, or you get to choose?
I'm a vinyasa teacher.
You get it. So you blow in there and like, I'm a vinyasa. You're getting vinyasa today.
You're getting vinyasa. And although I have been to hatha classes, I've been to Ashtanga, I've been to some Kundalini, definitely some yin, and I will incorporate all of those into what I do. By like my certification is in Vinyasa yoga. Vinyasa very specifically, and it's not like they have carte blanche on this, but what Vinyasa does, it means to sequence in a particular order with the breath. So you're setting up a sequence for the body that is very, very breath based. And usually the way it works is we do things in a sort of cycle where we start, it's like chiseling a piece of artwork where you start on the surface, you get all the little stuff out of the way, you start to dig in deep, you go deeper, deeper, deeper until eventually you find yourself, into the real stuff.
How long is a basic? Does it differ from place to place?
It does differ.
Hour, 45?
Bikram, getting back to Bikram used to be a 90-minute thing, which is awesome if you have the time for it, but it's one of the reasons why I stopped doing Bikram yoga is because you've been in the room. It's hot, yeah? It's just a little bit. It's a little bit hot. They ask you to get to the class 15 minutes early. It's a 90-minute class. You got to cool down and take a shower. That's another 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So you're talking about a 2-hour commitment easy every day.
Plus travel.
It's not something that I could do. Vinyasa, the cool thing is they offer different strokes for different folks. You got hour-long classes. Usually, generally speaking, hour-long, 75-minute, and 90 minutes.
Tell me the atmosphere.
Well,
the tone in the
gentle, that's what we're getting to. It's like you said, Bikram. Bikram by definition is a pretty athletic atmosphere.
Okay.
You got people there; they're in it.
I understand.
Specific
now.
poses. Specific poses. It's 26 poses, 2 breathing exercises, and every time you go in, you start here. You do this. It's called what they call a category style class, where you're doing your standing poses. You're doing your twists, you're doing your spine strengtheners, you're doing your forward folds, and you go through all of them in the same order every time. So you know what you're getting. It's like going to McDonald's or Burger King.
I see.
You know what you're getting, you go in, you do it, and people are, you hear they say it a lot in Bikram, push, 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 push. They want you to push the ego out of the way and get to where you're going. Works for some people, doesn't work for everybody. Vinyasa, especially the way that I teach like, hey, here's where we are. Here's where you could go. If this is working for you, go this way. If not, hang out back here at the first exit. We might go to exit 10. You might stay at exit 6.
How do you feel? Okay, to me, the difference would be the walk away. Do you feel high? Do you feel energized? Do you feel connected to God? I was kind of thinking like, I want the bliss zone.
That's it.
I don't.
It's bliss.
I don't really. Yeah.
It's bliss.
So.
I've talked to you about this before, and one of the things I said yoga did for me from taking yoga, I would take a class. I was done with my class. I was moving a little slower, moving a little more conscientiously. I was way more peaceful walking into whatever it is I was walking into. So, I've had a few jobs, whatever it was that I was doing. I just found myself a lot more peaceful walking into it. And because of that, I was like, wait, something's going on here. Because I just came into yoga for the workout. But I was like, it was keeping me more consistent with my moods and stuff. At first, it was like 20 minutes. I'd get to work and I'd be a nice person for like 20 minutes. A little while longer, keep practicing. It was like lasting an hour, a couple hours, and then I realized that like it's kind of when you go on a yoga mat, the perfect scenario is a self-study. You learn a lot about yourself. When it's done, you take that information that you've learned about yourself and you take it out into your everyday life. And a lot of the feelings that you get is like it's the bliss, it's the zen. It's not the complete.
Okay, but the bliss and the zen. But I'm also talking about greater connection
to the self,
right? To the cosmos.
To the self.
Yes,
the self.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's. When I meditate, because I'm meditate up, and I've devised a thing over a period of 10 years, 15 years, where it's a meditation, contemplation, and affirmation all at the same time, up to 2 hours a day. This is hardcore, and that's what gets me, like, in that hot zone, of the warm zone of, like, I'm connected, and I'm knowing, and I'm not reacting.
Right. You're acting, you're not reacting.
You're in power and presence.
Yeah.
You're not,
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I thought, that was the experience I was wanting to have. Maybe I'll come back. Beginner, I should come back? I'm going to come back to you. You do personal, you do on location.
Yeah.
You'll go to the client will come to you.
Yeah.
And then you also have a space that's full of aromatherapy and Thai massage? Is that?
Yeah, I teach public classes. I do private clients teaching strictly yoga. A lot of the people who take, classes are great for broad strokes, but if you really want to get deep into the physical practice and even into some of like more of the energetics or the mantra or whatever, a lot with the, it's no secret that as a public teacher, you got to keep your classes kind of, you widen your demographic, so to speak. You have to make it palatable, available. You have to make it accessible to a larger group of people. So, but when people are kind of, when they become a little more privy to what's going on, then they want to go deeper in the study. So then they'll come to me for privates, whether it be breath work, body work, the poses specifically. And then the other thing that I was telling you that I do is I do Thai massage, Thai yoga massage. Right. That's with, I share a space with a woman who does aromatherapy. Her name's Rikako Sasaki. She's amazing. She does aromatherapy and skincare. She actually started as a hairstylist, got into skincare, and now does the whole 9 yards. Myself, I do the body work, Thai massage. I don't know if everybody's familiar with, but Thai massage, it's not just a massage, it's energy work. You get in there, it's a lot of stretching and compression. You kind of lengthen people out to get deep.
A Thai massage, if you don't know, you are basically cradling and holding. Your bodies are connected through the whole thing. This is not like
it's partner stretching.
Yeah,
it's partner stretching. There's a lot of limb lock. There's a lot of twists where you're like getting in there.
I was totally blown away with this thing.
Some suspension, some anti-gravity sort of stuff. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I was in Thailand. That was the first time I ever got a Thai massage, and mind blowing. I just jumped into it thinking it was another massage, and this lady got some evil spirits out of my body. It was pretty freaking incredible. It was pretty incredible. So when I got back home, I was actually just looking for other places to get it in New York City. It's not as easy to come by.
Right.
I found a place that was actually teaching it. There's a group out in Canada that I found. The group is Lotus Palm School of Thai Massage. Suka Wong is the now owner, amazing woman, and they do trainings at the Integral Yoga Institute down on 13th Street, and it's awesome. I mean, it's an amazing way. It's a transference of energy. It's helping people align their energy, getting rid of negative stuff. It helps me, especially when I'm working with certain people. It can be a very empowering practice for myself as well.
Wow, it's like very intimate,
it's absolutely
right?
Absolutely. Well, it's one of the reasons why Thai massage, different than many other massages, it's clothes on. Top to head to toe, you're completely clothed, which is awesome for some people because some people don't want to get naked.
Right.
If you do, you just got to go somewhere else because it's just way too intimate. There's arms wrapped around arms, legs wrapped around legs.
You know what? It was like I didn't know anything about it, and the woman I was telling you about, who owns the yoga studios up in Connecticut, she gave it to me, and she was just like, Kirk, I was just sitting there, like I didn't. You know what I mean? She was like, let me give you a Thai massage. I just got back from Thailand.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And like the level of trust all of a sudden is, she's flipping me around. And, she did, like, I don't know, she like suspends you up in that. And I'm like.
On the feet.
But it was this very supreme connection, communion.
Yeah.
Thing, I don't think if I was not who I was, I would have kind of.
Well, it leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths if they've never got it before. Okay, and I always warn people, I'm like, if you're looking to for that nice pampering, Swedish massage, easy, mixed, that's not what you're getting with me. With me, you're gonna get uncomfortable. Of course, I monitor, I watch facial expressions, I listen for the breath, I see how the person's doing, but all in all, if I'm going in there to get rid of stuff. I don't want you to feel necessarily relaxed during the massage, although that sometimes does happen. But when you're done, the release, a lot of people wind up in tears, not directly related to the pain, but because the myofascial release and also the energetic release. It's super, It's a purge.
It's a purge, but it's a purge from a lot of different areas.
Absolutely.
At once.
Absolutely.
So
it's lymphatic, it's blood, but it's also super energetic. We do a lot of psoas and hip work, which always kind of it surprises people. You got to go in there deep.
Let's go into briefly, if anybody doesn't know or would like to hear your version, we're going back to yoga to the beginning.
Okay.
So you've got these. It's
been around a while.
What do you call them? Monks or yogi? You got these holy men,
yogis,
and they're
monks,
in search of
siddhas,
immortality. Really, at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Taoists, they all go into caves.
Yeah.
And this is where they you know about the tongue cutting and this side, that side, rolling back to get the pineal gland and the divine nectar. Mm-hmm. So. Take it from there. So they all are in caves and they're sitting there meditating. So they're in search of the ultimate.
The union. Yoga.
Right.
To yoke.
The ultimate connection to God, and they want to purify. And so what happens?
They want to purify. They wanted to spend a lot of time. One of the original thoughts of yoga is that you need to separate your mind from your body, from your wants, your desires.
Oh, I want
thoughts.
you to talk about the duality and the non.
Oh yeah, we're dabbling with that here.
Let's go and talk with that.
Well, anyway, these guys wanted to connect with to God, to whatever it was, to the universe, whatever that great the cosmic divine. I like using that expression. That works. That sits well with me. Mm-hmm. They want to connect to the cosmic divine. So they're like, okay, I want to sit here and I want to silence my thoughts, and I'm gonna quiet myself and listen to my breathing. And then 5 minutes in, they're like, my back's wrecked. This isn't working for me anymore.
How do you think they were sitting?
Yeah, I mean, they just sit on the ground.
Go back to it. Goes. The roots are Indian mysticism. Is that correct?
Yeah, mythology, mysticism.
Okay, so we're going back
About
Bhagavad
2,000 years.
Gita
Bhagavad Gita. Well, they're going back to the Vedic texts. There were 4 Vedic books or Vedic books.
Those are the oldest really written
it's written in Sanskrit.
Right?
Sanskrit, it's all written in Sanskrit, where Sanskrit was a dialect that was never meant to be written down.
Sacred? Do you think it's
sacred? Absolutely.
Okay.
It's sacred. It was never meant to be written down, but they're like, how are we going to document this stuff? So it was written down in these 4 books dealing with, mantra, dealing with bodily practices, physical practices, dealing with the philosophies and ideas. And that's where it all comes from. And these were all, set for union. They're looking for union with God. And one of the ways that they were doing it, I'm kind of jumping around here, but one of the ways that they were doing it was with the meditation. They couldn't meditate for long times because their bodies weren't ready for it.
Okay.
So then they had to prepare the body to be ready for the meditation. They had to prepare the breath for the meditation.
Okay.
So they set up basically a sequence of steps that would prepare you for this meditation.
So a ritual.
A ritual.
A ritual of stretching, a ritual of preparation.
Everything.
Okay.
Depending on the different disciplines, a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, what's the difference between Hatha? What's the difference between Vinyasa, Kundalini?
Right.
A lot of what's different between those, your average Joe is never going to find out, because what's different about them is the philosophies behind them. A lot of the poses, like I was telling you, Vinyasa kind of takes from them all, but a lot of the poses have nothing to do, a lot of the poses cross over. You can do certain poses in all of the practices, but what's changing from one practice to the next is the philosophies. So for example, in Ashtanga, there's 8 limbs. Ashta, 8, Tanga, limb. There's 8 ways to reach Samadhi, which is your union with God. You start with the things
What's the difference between? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. Don't hold. What's the difference between Samadhi and Nirvana? It's the same thing.
Tomato. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much the same. Samadhi is like union. It's bliss.
Okay.
Right? Ananda, bliss. You're just like that oneness, that where you're like realizing.
Are you the master at that point, or are you with the master?
Yes. Both. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's the answer. It's
I got
like
it.
within, without. It's like you are the cosmic, you are
There's
you
no
are the
different.
universe.
You're
The
the
universe is
right
inside
there.
you, the universe is around you.
You're the Zen master, the Taoist,
absolutely.
all of it. Okay, please continue.
So in your Ashtanga, there's what we call the 8 steps. There's the do's and the don't do's, things that you practice. You practice discipline. You practice the way you eat. The practice the things that you put into your body. The practice of not being a violent person. About keeping your space around you clean.
Okay, so this is, and that's an orientation as a mindful practice, first of all. So that's not just, hey, we're doing a pose.
Yeah, no, you don't even, in the Ashtanga practice, you don't even start doing the poses until that's the 4th step in. It's the do's, the don't do's.
Okay, so first of all, it's a purification of the mind and thoughts and actions.
Yeah, and
before you have the reverence.
Right, and then you get into the breath work, and then you get into the poses.
Okay, so that's more of a mystical, sacred.
Right. You mentioned, the dualistic, non-dualistic view.
Right.
So here's what we're getting into is before with like Patanjali, one of like, he's got a book, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. They don't know exactly if it's a person or if it was a group of people that created these sutras, these texts. But basically, it's a way of thinking, and they believed in a dualistic view, meaning that you have to separate the worldly from the conscious. You are the conscious, your body, your mind. You need to divorce yourself of those ways so that you can find your bliss body, your bliss mind.
This is,
this is dualistic.
In New Age circles, people disdain the world of form, the material world. And, you're not, if you disdain and resist, I tell my clients, you're missing the point. You came here to do something, not disdain and say, I hate it here. Right. Please continue.
So this would be the dualistic, which over time was realized like no, not so much with that like separating. There's that way of thought is I need to remove myself from my body so I can find my bliss body. But dualistic or non-dualistic is viewing that there is no, you use your body, you use your mind, you use the tools.
There's more of a seamless interface
to get to your bliss body. And this is where the Ashtanga practice come into practice. You conduct yourself a certain way. So not that you're divorcing yourself, but you don't indulge in every want, every desire.
Right.
You find balance in what you do and don't do. There's food, you eat it, you need it, it keeps you healthy, but when you overdo it, then you're knocking the balance.
So this is more of a celebration of the world of form, the world of spirit, the world of mysticism, and treating food as it's sacred,
right,
and reverence,
right.
Right.
The idea is that your body's a spirit, or you are a spirit. It inhabits this body for this lifetime, and everything that keeps this body alive is a gift. That's it. So you're using it as a gift. If you got a gift, you use it respectively. You don't pound it into the ground and mangle it up with overuse. And then,
boy, do I know that one.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yoga. But yeah. So and that's what we're doing. We're using these tools to get ourselves to this sort of prepared state. So now that we're in this prepared state of limiting what we do and what we don't do, now we're ready for the breath work. You use the breath work. You use the body work. Then
do they have classes just on breath?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
pranayama.
That's what that is.
It's called pranayama. Prana, life force, energy.
Okay.
It's basically everything is vibration. Like in the simplest of terms, everything is vibration. We've got a solid table in front of us. It's molecules spinning together. My body, molecules spinning together. The air that's around us, molecules spinning together. Some of them tight, some of them loose. It's all vibrational energy.
Do you have aromatherapy going on in this, or no? It's too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do.
Well, with breath work, not usually. Not with pranayama. Okay. Usually, what you do is you do your pranayama breath work to kind of open up the portals, and then you might use the more of the Ayurveda aromatherapy.
Candles going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incense.
Yeah, especially certain meditations absolutely call for candles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have very specific candle gazing, where you look, you envision the candle, you see the candle, you close your eyes, you try to envision the candle and kind of see it through your eyelids without actually seeing it.
One pointed focus.
Yeah, single point of focus.
Right.
It's an amazing tool to kind of to ground you, to shut down the crazy, put away the chitter chatter of the mind.
Okay. I did a show last night here, my regular show, and just about psychic abilities. Kundalini yoga, these teachers and videos promise, if you do a Kundalini yoga, you're going to open your Kundalini. They're like selling it like it's, candy bars or something. Like, hey, open your Kundalini. And third eye, you've got a lot of YouTube videos. Open your third eye and, put this on there and, all you have to do, and let me tell you something, okay, and I shared this with Christopher about Guru Mai, right? I told you that, I was a butler in a very high-end hotel. Guru Mai shows up. I don't know who she was. No clue. This is like, she's the successor to Mukhananda. She's like the head guru of them all. And she gives me a bar of chocolate as a blessing. Like 3 weeks later, my entire life fell apart at a Kundalini awakening and a breakdown. And I didn't leave the house off and on for over a year. Like the clearing. And the internet was just starting, so I didn't know. Right. I was like,
you couldn't Google that.
You couldn't
what
just be like, hey,
to me? What's Kundalini?
Kundalini crisis, Kundalini emergency. Now you can find them, and you can find,
absolutely.
The Shakti supposedly sits at the base of the spine. You want to expand on this?
Kundalini,
When it gets stuck.
Well, basically, a non-enlightened person has their Shakti, which is visualized as a coiled-up snake at the root of the spine. It's locked down there. And through the practice of Kundalini Yoga, chakra work, breath work, all of that stuff, you release the Shakti up the central channel. Basically, the body is composed of masculine and feminine, Ida and Pingala. They basically are two nadi or energy lines that run through the chakras. Central channel is your Sushumna nadi, and basically when you release your Shakti, you're trying to release that. The Sushumna nadi, the energy is traveling from the root to the, you're releasing it up to the crown of your head. It's stuck. You want to connect. So you're now rooted. That's where the energy starts from. It's firing up through the crown of your head, and now you have found your bliss body, Ananda.
Okay. One is blue, one is red, usually, I see. So one is hot, one is cold.
Yeah, yes. The masculine being the red, the feminine being the blue, and then the one in the middle, the Sushumna, is usually either white or gold, is the colors that are...
Okay, so let me just go on this because supposedly, and I read a lot about Kundalini, trust me, in the process of the Kundalini, it's a non-linear, because Shakti is all-pervasive.
Right.
Right.
Shakti, well, I was just telling you a second ago how everything is vibrational energy.
Right.
This is kind of viewed as Shakti. It's that like constant energetic vibration.
It's the feminine divine principle that helps animate and create.
It is the animation to the Shiva. Shiva's the knowledge.
Exactly.
Shiva sees the vision. Shakti puts it to life.
Okay, so in the process of this, okay, say maybe there's a disease or something can manifest and spit out. I always knew it was a clearing.
Yes.
I didn't panic in one respect because I knew this is poison coming out and this is a clearing. I always knew that, really. But I'm telling you, some days I was on the floor crying. Then other days I was laughing.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
I
lot to
got
handle.
something called a distended belly. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah.
I got distended belly. I didn't know what it was. On certain days, literally half the energy in my body would disappear, and I just like go
Collapse over to the
yeah.
side. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? All this stuff. So just that it's a non-linear experience. So one thing it can show up and be
Right.
Go ahead.
It can be intense. Well, it's just touching upon something you said about how you couldn't Google it or you didn't know how to look it up. That's the interesting thing about the internet now. Now we have all these people online learning something like some technique, a breathing technique, but it's not coming from any lineage. They're just like jumping onto YouTube and like, oh yeah, I could try that out. And what people are finding is that some of this stuff can be pretty intense, you're better off doing it with the guidance of like a guru or at least somebody that's like taking the time to learn it from someone that knew what they were doing rather than you just jumping into it, and you could ultimately harm yourself, especially when it gets into the physical practice, but definitely even in the breath work and the Kundalini, some people are not prepared to like handle some of the releases that happen. And they have nobody around them to kind of like guide them through to be like, whoa, this is cool, like you're gonna be okay, but you're gonna be uncomfortable for, what'd you say, a year? Something like that?
It went on, I didn't work for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, and all manner of stuff. I mean, like Dark Night of the Soul.
Yeah.
Then 1 week, complete nirvana, laughing, like you can't even, like that was all trapped.
Yeah.
Like wild. I wrote, the only way I got around it, through it was I wrote poetry on my walls.
Nice.
Like I literally just didn't, like, I eventually got connected with a Kundalini website that was very crude, but people were jumping in there, and I heard stories. I got in a car accident, my Kundalini opened up, like stuff like that. Like accidents. I can't think of all of them.
Well, devastation and accidents tend to be a catalyst for a lot of this stuff. Yeah, because it makes you raw. It makes you raw. It's usually when it's something like that, like an impact accident. It's like serious energetics.
Right.
It's when people realize that there's more than just like the physical energetics that happens behind any of this stuff. It can be a lot. But yeah, with the right guidance, and that's why with somebody with a Kundalini practice, you don't go for the full course meal on the first go. You usually take this stuff bit by bit.
Well, okay. In my opinion, I mean, it really is clearing over a period of lifetime. This is what I want you to tell people, or your thoughts is, this is not, a 3-week thing where you're like, my Shakti's open.
Right.
Like,
well,
no.
I say in the practice of yoga, you don't want miracles that happen overnight. You don't want those miracles. Those are dangerous miracles.
Totally, you could not be more... Like,
I mean, if someone's got like some ailment and they want it to go away and it goes away, of course, like who doesn't want that? But I'm saying like when you're having these like aha huge moments, it can be a lot. And you're better off, I think, in my own personal opinion, you're better off just kind of, piecemealing it so that you can handle what's unraveling.
Well, you have to trust. Once it gets open, this is what else I learned.
It's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride. Well, it's a non-linear ride.
Yeah.
So every day you just have to trust that you're being healed and cleared the way that Shakti or divine intelligence is going to clear you.
Right.
So the people, the places, the food, the sleep, or the not, you really is this level of like...
Well, I think, and a lot of that is why people go to, I think that you can be a yogi, a real world yogi, as I call it, but I think that's why a lot of people go to extremes with like any of these spiritual practices, because you're releasing so much, you become aware of so much of who you are and what's going on underneath, that you need to protect yourself from like the outer world.
Awareness, they're like, I want enlightenment, and I'm like, I look at my clients sometimes, I'm like, we're going to get it for you, and I'm going to grant it. You asked, and I'm the magic man, but I don't really think you understand.
It's be careful what you wish for.
Truly,
big bag of monkeys.
That you're going to have to become, first of all, disillusioned.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to drop that Maya, and that is so painful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that... Then, you have a clearing, and then you have, like, stereophonic awareness. And it is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's overwhelming, to say the least. And I talk about this on my show, but it's staggering, I think, is the, the amount of light that you had no idea was there, perhaps?
Well, the Bhagavad Gita, we were talking about that before. Arjuna and Krishna on the battlefield, Arjuna's got to go into this big battle, and Krishna's trying to like help him through it, but ultimately what he finds out in this, it's the... basically the Song of the Lord is the translation of Bhagavad Gita. He finds out he gets enlightened, and he doesn't much like the answer. He's like, tell me what I should do. And he's like, you're going to have to basically kill your family. And he's like, no, like that's not what I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, do you want to know or don't you want to know? And it's not really that he has to kill his family. And a lot of times we have to die to what we love in our lives. We get attached to this stuff.
I say that in my coaching. I say, you might have to give up something you like in order to get what you want.
Something you love.
Something you love.
Or you think you love. Like, because I think ultimately there is a love that is deeper than that, what you perceive as that thing that I love then and there.
Right.
But you have to be willing to, like, open your mind to the concept, like maybe I have to let go of this thing and there'll be something underneath. And this is where we get into the karma, because if it's causing you pain, if they're showing up at your doorstep saying, Kirk, I need help, like I need to get through this. Well, there's obviously something that's not, adding up for them. So if they're showing up at your doorstep, there's a possibility that they're going to have to open up their mind to that fact that they got to change something.
You have to be so gentle with people.
Of course. I got to be gentle with me.
Right. Mine, and my viewers know, has been the rockiest ride from hell, and it's fine. You know what? I must have told my spirit guides, before I incarnated on a soul plan, because I don't know if you know this, I read people's soul plans in this lifetime, and then we go and try to find out another lifetime. And I don't do this for entertainment, I do not. This is the most sacred thing. I'm not going to walk around somebody's soul to tell them they were a knight or a maiden or a what,
Right.
That's not what this is for. This is to get them released. What's the blockage in this lifetime? That's the recurring pattern, the repetitive pattern.
Right.
I don't know, but what was I saying?
Soul releasing and how you have to be gentle with these people.
You have to be gentle with them, along the line of their soul plan that you build certain things in. And I really get rock bottom people. But my life has been rock bottom.
Right.
So when they come to me, I'm just like,
right.
You're good. I'm a good guide, and I don't panic.
Right.
Like, the more messed up it is, the calmer I get.
Right.
Like, I'm just that guy, So, but they come to me a lot of times in a dark night of the soul. That like hardcore. They're falling apart. They're fragmenting, and I'm like, it's the caterpillar that really focuses and goes into a deep trance, and then the cocoon. So, go ahead.
No. Yeah, I just think that like it's people have to. At the end of the day, people are coming to us, and it's what brought me to yoga. It's just like you need that peel. Oh, go ahead.
This is what I was going to say. Do you know the Plato's Cave? Plato, he did this. It's called a symposium or a talk. So he is trying to. Even Plato is trying to tell his students, if you're in a cave and you're chained to a wall and then there's a fire somewhere else and people are walking and you see these shadows, that's your only idea of reality.
Right.
And so for your whole life, you don't know anything else.
Right.
First of all, we have to convince you there's something else.
Right.
Right? And you're like, no, there's not. These shadows are real. These shadows are real.
Yeah.
Then we have to take the chains off.
Right.
And say, would you like to see another reality? And then they walk you around a corner and there's like a window. To outside, and they're like, I don't believe this. The whole rest of it is basically, if you put somebody from the chains and the shadows right outside, they would just die.
Right.
They would just
be too much for them to handle.
It's too much.
Yeah.
So you kind of, you understand?
It's got to be a gradual
into the light,
right?
Because you're going to really get fried, and so you don't want to be jackhammered open,
right?
But third eye, what's your yes, no? Does it? Everybody's like, oh, number one goes up, goes two, 1, 2. I don't think it goes like that. I think they get.
It doesn't go that way for everybody. I mean, you could do your chakra meditations and try to open up things in those order. But I think more to the point, what happens with people is for every person, what's kind of off is different. Maybe you're screwed up in your third eye chakra. Maybe you're screwed up in your second chakra. Maybe you're screwed. Maybe if you're fortunate enough, maybe they're all perfect, but probably not the case. But I don't think it's a linear thing where you're like, when we do chakra meditations, a lot of times we work our way up through the 7 chakras because to make sure you cover all your bases. But when you're working with somebody specifically that's struggling with their creativity or with their determination or with I don't even know what I want. So listening to intuition, to their heart, or if they can't voice what they're trying. So that you focus on these specific things so that they can free that up. Whatever that is for them, which for everybody is different. So third eye, maybe someone's there, but I feel like I had some third eye awareness before my second and third chakra were ready to open up. So, and I think that's part of what got me aware of, because that's where your intuition is. That's your intuition.
Well, they're I was showing these videos last night to pick it up the segue, and one guy was like, yes, open it, and this is how you open it, and do this. Then there was this other guy, and I thought he, to me, had the most light of the videos, and he was like, you don't want this thing open, trust me. They're all, let's face it, Eastern mysticism deals with a lot of ghosts and bad spirits and monsters. And so, it's not all like puppy dogs and rainbows. I try to tell people this, there are ghosts and,
Right, but I think, if it depends how you're approaching it. If you're approaching it from a place of, and again, having somebody to go through it with you is super important, super helpful, I'll say that at least.
Right.
But I don't think one should go through it with fear. But one should go through it with an awareness that it might get scary. There's a difference.
Okay.
If you're going through it with fear, you're like, oh, I shouldn't be experiencing these things. If you're going through it with an awareness that things could get scary, you're staring at the boogeyman, wishing he'd go away, but you're saying, I don't need you to go away because I'm going to take this moment to look you back, even though I'm pooping my own pants, and then I'll be able to move through it. But you have to get through that fear. You have to have it.
The Mara. You know about
Yeah.
the Mara? Is the internal monster, and like, if you really want true enlightenment, according to various esoteric systems, eventually you're going to have to deal with there's like, they believe I think it's a Mara.
Okay.
Internal
I'm not
monster.
familiar. Okay.
And that you will have to face one internal demon, an anti-self.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, say, your angelic or whatever, divine
the
self.
devil and the angel on the shoulders sort
Right,
of thing.
so you have to make peace with, the devil within or the monster.
Well, they're both very real, and they're both supposed to be there. It's like that's the equation. There's one of the mythological stories is when Shiva goes to get married, he invites all the saints, the angels, and the good gods, but he also invites all the demons, and they're like, "What, dude? Like, what's up? Like, what?" He's like, "It's all part of it's all part of the universe. Got to be sunlight. There's got to be shadows. Like this is the reality. So if we're trying to, it's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. If you try to extract just the good, well, that's not real, and then what we find is the imbalance of the Mr. Hyde, whereas both of them have to learn how to exist, and coming from a place of growth, breaking through the Maya, finding the bliss, coming from a place of love, and then both of those things can exist, and they can exist in a positive way. It doesn't sound, it may sound a little, I don't know. Again, we get into the dualistic and non-dualistic. If you're trying to divorce yourself to two separate things, like, no, it's good and evil, then it's not going to work.
Separation.
Yeah. It's more of like learning to live with both things and learning to live with both things, not fearfully, but powerfully, empowered, embodied.
All right, we have about 5 minutes left.
Time flies.
It goes fast. I said
fast,
it would go very fast. Well, I could really sit here a whole another hour, but how do you want to wrap it up? What do you want to say? Facebook, shameless plugs on links?
Yeah, come check me out. I'm a teacher in New York City. I teach at Sonic Yoga on 8th Avenue. I teach at New York Yoga on the Upper East Side. I teach at Earth Yoga. They're all awesome studios. I do privates, I do corporates, I do Thai massage. I work with Rokako Sasaki, embracesall.com. I'm ChrisTempleYoga.com. You can find me on Facebook, Chris Temple Yoga. You can find me on Instagram, Chris Temple Yoga. Nice and simple. It's all the same stuff. Shameless plugging, but if you want to make a difference in your life, there's many different types of yoga, and I think that it's for everybody. That doesn't mean you're ever going to want to step into a class and do a bunch of crazy poses. That's not for everybody. But there's many different aspects of yoga, and I think that between the breath work or just the meditation, the quieting thoughts, the releasing of stuff that gets us stuck. To me, yoga is an amazing tool because it puts us in perhaps an uncomfortable place so that we can be empowered by being uncomfortable. We learn to be comfortable in discomfort, and that can be a physical or a energetic thing, and it's so empowering. Like what it's done for my life, I wouldn't be here talking to you about it today if it didn't, do the amazing things for me that it has done. So, come check me out. Look me up. Give me. You can find my email as easy, christempleyoga@gmail.com. But if you have any questions or if you just want to give me a shout out, say hey, definitely do so.
Final thoughts, prayers to our viewers. This is going to be on YouTube and Daily Motion.
Yeah, just don't be afraid to sit with yourself. Don't be afraid to try to quiet your thoughts for a few moments, especially I feel like nowadays, like you and I didn't so much, but it's still around now. Like there's so many things to just keep our mind constantly occupied between like YouTube and stuff. And it's just like we really have to be our own chaperones to like, guide the information that you're putting into the mind. Our minds are highly susceptible to what we put into it. You put in garbage, you're going to get garbage out. When you put in positivity, and it's a lot of what we're talking about here, being around the right people who are trying to like get you to your better self, like that's the way to go. Find people, find books, pick up the Bhagavad Gita or pick up, the Hatha Pradipika, pick up something that's gonna like at least get you, open your mind a little bit. I found so many texts where I went in there like the biggest skeptic in the world, and that's one of the things that I think is amazing about yoga. I'm one of the most skeptical people you ever want to meet out of the box, but I gave this stuff a chance, and I guess that that's what I'll wrap it up with. Give these things a chance, because you'll be amazed like what you, just by opening your mind to open your mind to the possibility of what if there is something that needs to be released, what if there's something that's deeper underneath the surface of who I am and what I want from this life, like the why am I here, which I really find that I am finding that out in myself, and it's an amazingly rewarding, like it's such a rewarding journey to like, because I'm on every day I'm trying to do things that scare me, ask myself like what if there's something more to find out about this life, and yeah, you'd be amazed what a ride it could be. Open more. Tolerance, compassion for yourself, for your people.
Right.
Listen to people before you like close your mind off to them. Even our enemies we can learn from.
Right.
The whole don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You just want to like, what can I learn from this situation? What can I gather? What can I extract and embody? Because there's so much amazing information and amazing people out there.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Kirk, and it's been my honor to be in the Sacred Healing Art Circle and Divine Intelligence with Christopher Temple. I will see you next week or next time in the Cyber Temple of Love. And I'm wishing you all blessings in every reality imaginable, and of course sending you the world famous Kirk Spiritual Television Shakti. And that's our interview.
Namaste, brother.
Namaste. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
It was beautiful.
Absolutely.
I think we got like a cool flow there where it was like, I need to go and turn the mic off so this is still on tape. Did my mic fall off at one point?
I didn't see it go down.
Did it? Because I was like, uh-oh. I just made like this big, like, revelatory, and then I was like, uh-oh, the mic. I think the mic's off. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Shakti.
She had our mics up pretty hot, so I'm sure you got a lot off of mine anyway.
Let me see. Yeah, now I can't even see the stop button here.
Does
that say stop? Right there? Where's the stop?
No. There's nothing. Oh.
Yeah, right
here.
here.
Let me get my phone. That's fucking dark.
Yeah, no, it's